to be a part of the show, it's very simple. All you have to do is either hop in the chat pack, which we'll get to my co-host later, or head over to the John Browner Podcast at gmail.com. You head over to the John Browner Podcast at gmail.com. Long form, short form, complaint. That's where all my bills go. So I check it daily because I got to maintain this show because nothing's free but air for now. So the other thing that we are always constantly reminding you guys, we're constantly working on, excuse me, I don't want to burp out loud. The road to 500 is alive and well. We marched to 300 and we got there. Now we're on the road to 500 and we are cruising at a speed that is the limit. We're cruising at the speed limit, which means we're not getting there super fast, but we're getting there according to the directions from my Apple iPhone. Speed. If you want to help the show out until we can find a way to put cash in our pocket via, YouTube, subscribe to the show. That helps. Or you can head over to the John Browner Podcast shop, courtesy of Shopify. I got to update this because we got Ass Island stickers over there, but don't order them because I'm working on that. But the John Browner Podcast shop's got sweaters, it's got hoodies, it's got T-shirts, and that's the easiest way to help the show out because that money goes directly to me, and then I put that money directly back into the show. So that's like my own little way of advertising. You'll see this hat. This hat's not available there, which is probably a mistake. But nonetheless, John Browner Podcast Shop is the way to help the show as well. Early, often. Wait, what? I'm on mute. I'm on mute. I'm not on mute. Y'all say I'm on mute? I'm on mute? Hold on. Let me go. Let me check. Hold on. Let me go check the source. What you mean I'm on mute? Oh, wait, that's not me. Hold on. Mute. Who's on mute? Play that thing. Man, I ain't on no damn mute. Why y'all playing with me like that? Y'all tripping, man. I'm on mute. Ain't on no damn mute. Come on, Rigby. Come on, man. You in the technician department. How you gonna trick me to say I'm on mute? I don't know until y'all say something. I was on mute at the beginning. All right, WVC. Thank you. Thank you. If I was on mute, hold on. If I was on mute, my bad. That's on me. But I don't think I was. But if y'all say I was, I believe y'all. All right, so let's get to the show. On the show today, we're talking about the Padres winning 5 in a row, but that's going to be later in the show because you guys know I save the Padres stuff for the end of the show because I give people time to come in. I don't want them to miss what they came for. We're going to talk about Fernando Mendoza and why tonight is very, very important for the Las Vegas Raiders going forward. I know it's a preseason game. Well, let's start here. Yesterday, the announcement of Russell Westbrook's retirement was interesting. You see, to me, Russell Westbrook is one of the greatest basketball players to ever play basketball. And I know that sounds crazy because Russell Westbrook's not responsible for any championships. But Russell Westbrook's play on the court, Russell Westbrook's fire and tenacity and relentlessness on the court should be admired. The way how hard Russell Westbrook played, that alone should get him in the Hall of Fame. And the NBA Hall of Fame is a joke. It's not that it's a joke because it is the Hall of Fame, but it's a joke that anybody can get in there. Russell Westbrook was the first to average a triple-double since Oscar Robertson. And then Nikola Jokic did it a couple of times. And then the triple-double became a fad and this thing that seemed very easy to do if you were in the NBA. And so it kind of lost its steam. But Russell Westbrook became the triple-double machine when no one was doing it. He was doing it regularly. Russell Westbrook is the only player, if I'm not mistaken, to post a 20-20-20 game in honor of Nipsey Hussle, being, rolling 60s, but that's a portion of the show we don't discuss. So I want to start today's show by giving kudos and flowers to Russell Westbrook. Russell Westbrook was everything you want a athlete to be if you're rooting for them. Russell Westbrook played every game possible. When he played as hard as he possibly could. Was it the best result? No. But no athlete's perfect. But the one thing you could count on every time Russell Westbrook took the court is that Russell Westbrook played harder than anybody else on the court, no matter what uniform he was wearing. Sometimes it felt like he's playing against his own team. But Russell Westbrook's attempt to raise the bar every single time he took the court is what I admired the most about him. If you didn't like his style of play, that's cool. If you didn't like the way that he, rubbed people the wrong way, that's cool. But what you cannot deny about Russell Westbrook, outside of his statistics, is the effort he gave on the court every single night. The thing that we complain about most in the modern day NBA is that guys are taking too many days off, and it doesn't appear during the regular season guys play hard. Russell Westbrook did not have either of those problems. And so Russell Westbrook should have been what more players aspire to be going forward. I don't know if he'll have that level of impact upon his retirement. I think what Russell Westbrook's intent on retiring and announcing it the way that he did was that a guy who has always followed the beat of his own drum throughout his entire NBA career ended in a way that only he could do so. He walked off on his own power. He had offers out there from multiple teams. I know you hear it a lot, but he actually did. And his career is a reflection of the way he wanted to go out on his own terms. He played on his own terms. He left on his own terms. And you can't beat that. And so as we start the show today, let's start here. I agree, Michael Panis. Russell Westbrook is a first ballot Hall of Famer. I would argue that Russell Westbrook is a top 5 point guard of all time. You cannot watch him play and statistically tell me that there are 4 other guards in NBA history better than him. It's a very, very short list because obviously Magic's on it. So Magic's on it. Steph Curry's on it. Isaiah Thomas is on it. And after that, it's a conversation. After that, it is a conversation. Yes, John Stockton was a great point guard. Russell Westbrook would eat John Stockton alive. Like start giving me, start throwing names in the chat. I'll tell you my opinion if Russell Westbrook was better than them. And oftentimes the answer is yes, he was. Better than Chris Paul? Absolutely. And these are his contemporaries. Better than Jalen Brunson? Absolutely. His combination of longevity, which is good for something, and statistical achievement, MVP awards. He should have been a 2-time MVP, but they didn't want to give it to him again because they only gave it to him the first time because of averaging the triple-double. And the part about Russell Westbrook that nobody wants to talk about, but I'll have that conversation because that's what we do here. The Westbrook situation. Now, when you're a professional athlete, you have to put up with a lot of stuff. Russell Westbrook kind of got prickly about people disrespecting his name, which something that I stood behind 100%. At the end of Russell Westbrook's career, he started telling security to throw people out. Because again, he can't come swing on you. So why should he let you say whatever you want to say to him? Because you paid a ticket? For the price of the ticket, you get to rail against it? I don't believe in that. I believe if you can say it out loud, you need to be able to defend it. So what you wouldn't say to somebody in a parking lot after a nightclub or or in a parking lot of a bar, you probably shouldn't be yelling it at them in an NBA basketball game. Time and place, my man. Time and place. So Russell Westbrook will be remembered in the NBA statistically, but I think the greatest pushback against Russell Westbrook is that Russell Westbrook won't be remembered in the game for changing it. And I think that's what Russell Westbrook's post-career will be about. I think Russell Westbrook's post-career will be far more based on fashion and community outreach. I think that's what the next move is for him. Art. I think that's the move that you're going to see Russell Westbrook have more of an impact in, because he was a phenomenal basketball player. But as much as he accumulated all these statistics, oftentimes the criticism of his game was that he was chasing those statistics. I mean, if you watch the game he had the 20-20-20, he was chasing the 20-20-20. The points have always been easy for him. The assists were always easy for him. But if you watch the way he was getting some of those rebounds, and sometimes it's unfortunate when some guys don't win championships, because in a sport where one guy can make such a difference on both ends of the court, it's vital that you have championships. And the NBA is very unique like that. I think the NBA, the greatest players have to have championships. This is where Barkley falls short. This is where Ewing falls short. This is where Westbrook is going to fall short. This is why KD abandoned Westbrook to begin with. This is what's going to hurt and hamstring Luka's career as he continues to go forward championshipless. This is what hurt Chris Paul. This is what hurt Carmelo Anthony. I could go on and on and on with guys who were hurt, temporary guys who were hurt legacy-wise. Tracy McGrady, but no matter how great they were unable to win an NBA championship in a league where being able to play both sides effectively is a massive part of the game. So as we start here, that's where I want to start. I think Russell Westbrook is a top 5 NBA point guard. If you don't think he is, tell me somebody who you think is better. You will struggle. You will struggle to find a better point guard after 5 guys in the history of the game than Russell Westbrook. And you can give me that Jerry West shit if you want. I'm taking Russell Westbrook. Jerry West was ass in the finals. Look it up. Jerry West had a great career, just like Russell Westbrook had a great career. Jerry West is the logo, but Jerry West's impact in the NBA was far more post-career than it was playing career. Don't be mad at me. You can look it up. That's where we start today. Now, nope. As always, I come to you via the Sporting Tribune. This show is broadcasted across multiple platforms: Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, X, and Kick. And because I'm across all these platforms, I am able to do that with the help of the Sporting Tribune, which also broadcasts this show on their X account. So shout out to them. I work with them and for them in a capacity of podcasting. So let's continue to grow that relationship, and you'll see more coming from that network as well with my name on it. But the Raiders can get this right. Let me look up something before I do that. So I honestly believe that the Las Vegas Raiders have an opportunity to do something that many people don't think is possible. I honestly believe that the Las Vegas Raiders have a massive opportunity to get something right that oftentimes they simply do not. And that's quarterback. I honestly believe that the Las Vegas Raiders can get the quarterback position correct, but it has to start tonight. For the Las Vegas Raiders to get the position correct, it has to begin tonight. Now, I don't know who they've announced as a starter, and around this topic, we'll talk about some other teams that have announced their starter, and we'll go over why that's important and why it may not be important. The Raiders, in this particular climate, it's most important for them that Fernando-Mania begins tonight. To solidify starting him week one, Fernando Mendoza has to display the same thing Carson Beck displayed in the Hall of Fame game. Again, these are not defensive schemes he's going against. This is straight line, beat your man, simple, too high coverage. These are things that a rookie quarterback who spent 5 years in college football should be able to decipher. If tonight we tune into this game, because I will be, and Fernando Mendoza cannot, I'm not going to say pick apart, but Fernando Mendoza can't look professional against the Cardinals, who Carson Beck did a phenomenal job in the Hall of Fame game. I'm very interested to see if Carson Beck can come into his second professional appearance looking better than Fernando Mendoza. Because if Fernando Mendoza gives you the appearance, if Fernando Mendoza gives you the level of play that Carson Beck gave you in the Hall of Fame game, buddy, you cooking. Fernando Mendoza has to make it impossible for the Raiders to start someone else. And Fernando Mendoza needs to take the floor and have a Carson Beck-like game from the Hall of Fame game for the Raiders to look around that organization and go, yeah, we're going to go with Fernando Mendoza from the beginning. Because I get this Kirk Cousins situation, and I get how people feel like, oh, Kirk Cousins needs to have the opportunity to be out there. I don't believe that. But if within the organization, if you feel like Fernando Mendoza isn't progressing enough, then it's probably smarter for you to give Kirk Cousins that opportunity. But tonight, the Raiders can get this right by Fernando Mendoza going out there and looking prepared. Because a large part of the way we evaluate rookie quarterbacks in the very beginning is preparation. Will Fernando Mendoza look prepared? Carson Beck in game one knew where he wanted to go with the ball. He looked calm. He looked like he had not a command, but an understanding for the offense. He looked like he knew where guys needed to be. And I grant you it was preseason game number one, but nonetheless, Carson Beck looked like he knew what he was doing. Fernando Mendoza needs to start tonight's game, or because Kirk Cousins is due some time. Fernando Mendoza, when he takes the field, needs to look like he understands what he's doing with the offense. Because if you're telling me you're going to start Kirk Cousins, even though Fernando Mendoza has an understanding for the playbook that he has his hands on, obviously he's doing complete one-on-one right now. And if Clint Kubiak has come out and told y'all he's going to expand out Ashton Genty's role, so now you're going to be running the ball more. He's going to be catching the ball more out of the backfield. They're going to rely on him. All signals point to Fernando Mendoza starting the regular season. But Fernando Mendoza's got to do his part, and the Raiders got to get this right. In this division, in the AFC, the Raiders have to get this right, and this is their opportunity. Fernando Mendoza needs to look like he knows what he's doing. And if Fernando Mendoza takes the field and he can get the ball to where it needs to be on time, he can get the offense in positions on audibles. If he looks like he has now again, not a command of the offense, but control of the offense, to me, that's good enough to start him week one. He's a rookie. He's going to make mistakes. Kirk Cousins is going to make mistakes. Whose mistakes would you rather watch? Guess what this is going to come down to in the season? Whose mistakes would you rather watch? Kirk Cousins is not taking you to a Super Bowl. Kirk Cousins is not taking you to a playoff appearance. And because you're not going to get any of those things from Kirk Cousins, at this point, Kirk Cousins as a backup should serve you as someone who is helping Fernando Mendoza reach his potential for year one. This isn't, for a guy like Fernando Mendoza, this isn't complicated. Now, if you told me you were taking Fernando Mendoza in the way that the Colts took Richardson, I always forget his first name, but Richardson was a project for the Colts. They knew that from the second that they took him. I think he had like 18 or 19 starts or 20. The number of starts Richardson had when the Colts drafted him were very low. They understood they were working with a massive project. Fernando Mendoza is a finished product at the level when he was taken. You can't get better than what he was at Indiana. As he transitions into the NFL, it is the Raiders, from an organizational standpoint, to develop him as a quarterback. I saw something very interesting about, I think it's the Trevor Lawrence draft class. Trevor Lawrence is still playing. Zach Wilson, no longer a starter. Justin Fields, no longer a starter. Like, it's a graveyard of guys who were taken that year. They're nowhere to be found when it comes to starter roles. Those guys have all either become backups or they're struggling to make teams. Fernando Mendoza has to show competence. I think Trey Lance is in that group as well. Have you seen Trey Lance? When the 49ers give up on you, when Kyle Shanahan goes, yeah, I don't know, man. That's a red flag. When there are a couple of coaches, there are a couple of coaching staffs that when they give up on you, if the Rams give up on you, you're probably going to be out of the league. If Andy Reid gives up on you, you're probably going to be out of the league. There's a couple of coaching staffs now. If they give up on you, you're probably going to be out of the league. JJ McCarthy, I'm looking at you, buddy. I'm looking at you. Because the Raiders can get this right where the Vikings got it wrong. Kevin O'Connell has given the Vikings organization double-digit wins with subpar quarterbacks. And if JJ McCarthy can't stay healthy long enough or be efficient long enough to be a part of a double-digit win organization when they've shown you with different quarterbacks, they can produce double-digit wins. Scrap heap, buddy. And people are, to Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold, do it again. Do it again. If it's real, do it again. One of my high marks I've always said, if you can do it on multiple teams, I'm a believer. Now, that usually doesn't work for quarterbacks, but quarterbacks turn you into believers to the point where they don't get on other teams. But even Tom Brady played for 2 franchises. Joe Montana played for 2 franchises. So sometimes greats do move on. But to talk about what's happening also in some other places, the Browns are going to start Deshaun Watson as their first preseason game. For what? For what? See, this is what I don't want, and understand why I'm bringing up the Browns. I don't want the Raiders to turn into the sham situation that was the Browns quarterback room last year. Last year, they started the year with Joe Flacco, even though they had 2 rookies on the roster. There was nothing to be gained by playing Joe Flacco. Dylan Gabriel didn't appear to learn anything, and Shedeur Sanders didn't appear to learn anything either from watching Joe Flacco play. The only way to find out if Dylan Gabriel could play was to put him on the field. The only way to find out if Shedeur Sanders could play was to put him on the field. And when they put those two guys on the field, Shedeur Sanders showed himself to be better, despite Jerry Jeudy's sabotage. Why would you waste time playing Kirk Cousins any snaps of significance? Jacoby Brissett bitched and moaned about making more money even though he was 1-11 as a starter last year. They said, okay, take this one-year deal. Carson Beck shows up in game 1. Carson Beck's going to show up in game 2. If Carson Beck shows up competent as he did in game 1, in game 2, Jacoby Brissett will be the backup. It's not a new head coach. It's not complicated. The Cardinals are a weird organization, bro. They do dumb shit all the time. So the Raiders can get this right. They don't have to fall into this trap of putting in Kirk Cousins when they don't have to. The Raiders don't have to play Kirk Cousins. The Raiders can essentially start their forward progress with their organization, with Tom Brady in the helm, with your new coach, with your running back, with your tight end tonight. Will they is a completely different conversation. I don't as of right now, let's see who they've said is a starter. I'm looking it up for the people who listening to this on pod. Maybe you can hear me typing or not. Hold on. So Kirk Cousins will start the first preseason game. Fernando Mendoza, just look like you have control of the offense. Not command, just control. Just control. We know what Kirk Cousins can do. Shout out to Biggie. Biggie's the first chat pack to make the show today. Biggie says, it's not necessarily a failure if the Raiders give up on you because their recent history shows they haven't been good at judging talented players, left them successful elsewhere. Under the new Raider regime, that's something that they should be able to dismiss. You have new people in the ownership. You have new people I think the director of operations, their new football guy, new guy, general manager, new guy, coach, new guy. So they're trying to get rid of what you're saying. But my whole point being is they can turn that around by getting this right. The Chicago Bears, and this is a good example. The Chicago Bears have never had a franchise quarterback. Ever. Jim McMahon was the last, quasi-franchise quarterback. Before that, you have to go back to Sid Luckman. And now y'all don't even know who that is. That name sounds fake. That name sounds like Chat GPT made it up. But Sid Luckman, before Jim McMahon, was the franchise high water mark for the Chicago Bears at the quarterback position. Caleb Williams, in 2 years, has already changed that. Caleb Williams has revamped the image of the Chicago, along with Ben Johnson, mostly Ben Johnson, then Caleb Williams, but it's an equal process. They've turned around how people approach the Chicago Bears. There are people talking about the Chicago Bears organization as being a positive way of doing things. That's now going around the league. This could be the Raiders. People could be talking about the Raiders, how they talk about the Chicago Bears this time next year. The Bears didn't win any Super Bowls. Their defense was atrocious. Right now, the Raiders probably have. Their offensive line is not better than what the Bears was last year, but their skill position players, because Colston Loveland started the year very slow. If Ashton Genty comes out of the box ready to run with this new vamped offensive line because they got the number one center on the market this summer, you have the number one tight end in the league. If you can get these skill positions to come up with something, anything, because the Bears had far better wide receivers, but the Raiders have a better tight end room, they have a better running back room, and if your offensive line can be competent, Bill Wade, that's technology. Get out of here. This is the opportunity that we are. It was no question who was the starter when the Chicago Bears drafted Caleb Williams. It was not a question. This same situation should be working its way. The same situation should be working its way in Las Vegas. There should not be a conversation as to who the starter is. I mean, it's not because it's Kirk Cousins. The Raiders can get this right. Will they? Biggie says a lot of players who start preseason games don't even make the team, especially the first preseason game, so it doesn't matter who the starting quarterback in the preseason game is. I call bullshit on that. Who your preseason starter is can be a statement for the year. Or your preseason starter can mean nothing. It's about what the organization turns it into. Who you start at quarterback for your first preseason game sets the tone for how you're going to do things going forward. If it didn't matter who started preseason games, Patrick Mahomes would never start. He would never play. Tom Brady would have never played in the preseason. Now you're boiling down something about, see, Biggie, you're talking more about philosophy. Like the Rams don't play anybody in the preseason. They also struggle to start the season. Look it up. In my opinion, you got to play your starters. You got to play guys in the preseason because if not, what are you doing? If your first live action of those bullets come in a regular season, when it counts, you're putting yourself behind the 8 ball. Right after the Rams won their first Super Bowl, people stopped playing guys in the preseason. I mean, they were already doing that, kind of. But when the Rams started doing it after they won the Super Bowl, then the trend just picked up. And everybody thought, we're not going to play our starters either. It's football, man. People get hurt. People get hurt. Biggie said a lot of teams don't even play their starters, their star players in any preseason games to avoid injury. I'd be surprised if Nick Bosa plays at all in the preseason for the Niners. Dude gets injured in the preseason. Nick Bosa hurt already. Of the guys who they brought in to help this team, most of them are already hurt for the 49ers. So that's my whole point. It's football. You're going to get hurt eventually at some point. If you're a pass rusher, if you're an offensive lineman, if you're a running back, if you're one of these consistent collision positions, you're going to get hurt. It's just the nature of the sport. LT and Rivers never played in the preseason, says Crystal Davis. Philosophy. It's a matter of philosophy. Now, that worked for them, but did it, though? How many Super Bowls we got here for the Bolts? The San Diego Chargers. How many Super Bowls did LT and Rivers deliver you? And at the end of the year, what happened to LT anyway? Hurt. Rivers would have played in a wheelchair. He don't count. He don't count. Phillip Rivers would have played through a hailstorm. Okay? Phillip Rivers would have played quarterback with gasoline draws on in hell. That's the type of guy he was. Injury doesn't mean nothing to him. He don't need ACLs. He don't need meniscuses. He just needs to get under center. What? That's what old Phillip needs. But when we talk about these young guys, for the purpose of the Raiders, you need to be starting Fernando Mendoza. And here's another reason why. Because if you don't start him during the regular season, when is the next time is he going to get active live in-game snaps? Week 4? Week 8? Week 10? If you don't start Fernando Mendoza in your preseason games so he can get as many live NFL snaps as he possibly can before they get real, as they say, when is he going to get these snaps? You can't put him in for trick plays because he's not that kind of athlete. He's not Lamar Jackson. He not Justin Fields. He's not Michael Vick. He's not Kyler Murray. He's not that kind of athlete. So you're not going to put him in for trick play. So now you're waiting for Kirk Cousins to get injured. Now that's emergency. So now he's not prepared during the week. You're just throwing him out there. That's all. If you're not going to start Fernando Mendoza during the regular season, why not start him during the preseason to get him as many snaps as you possibly can because you don't know when he's going to play again. If you're the Raiders, you can get this right because there's so many ways to help you be successful. But if you ignore all those in the form of how things used to be done, Steve Coe says, I just want to see Shedeur dominate and be the starter. You and me both. But they're starting Deshaun Watson because they do dumb shit all the time in Cleveland. It doesn't matter who the general manager is. It doesn't matter who the coach is. They do dumb shit in Cleveland all the time because the only constant amongst all these things is the owner. There's no reason why Deshaun Watson should be playing any snaps at all ahead of Dillon Gabriel, if you ask me. Whatever you paid Deshaun Watson, buddy, that's a sunken cost. That's over. He got that money. He got that guaranteed $200 million. And as the owner, you just got to eat that. They gave Deshaun Watson a fully guaranteed, never done before, $200 million contract, the first of its kind, to get him to accept the trade from the Texans to the Browns. But at that time for the Texans, he was bordering on battling Patrick Mahomes as the best quarterback in the AFC. Now, he's battling Shedeur Sanders to see who can be the starter. That's a sunken cost. You got to let that go as an organization. Every snap you play Deshaun Watson is a snap you're not playing Shedeur Sanders or Dillon Gabriel to see if they're actually NFL quarterbacks. By getting a fair shake. Now, I don't believe Dillon Gabriel is, but he should get the opportunity ahead of Deshaun Watson. Christopher Davis said, Watson will get hurt like always. David P. says Mendoza might get killed if they play him in the preseason. And that means he's going to get killed no matter what. And you got to see if he can survive the murder trial. There are no negatives as an organization. There are no negatives playing the rookie. Because if he's good, he'll survive. Peyton Manning was god-awful. God-awful. First year and a half in the league. Then he became one of the greatest quarterbacks ever. But they saw something in him. Throughout those struggles of throwing more interceptions than touchdowns his rookie season, they saw he understood the process. They saw he understood how to run an offense. They watched him learn in real time and then become the Peyton Manning we came to know. Also the number one pick. Also started from day one. Again, you can play this game if you want. You're just delaying the inevitable to figure out whether Fernando Mendoza can play or not. I'd rather know if he can now than to find out he can't later. Listen, Graham, I mean this with 100% sincerity. I would play Dillon Gabriel, not as a starter, but I would play him before Deshaun Watson because I need to get Deshaun Watson as far away from as I can from my organization. If Deshaun Watson wants to be the third string quarterback and do the Kirk Cousins and mentor the two guys ahead of him, I'm paying you, buddy. Help out. I'm paying you lots of money. You've done nothing for me as an owner but tear your ACLs and collect my checks. So the least you can do for me for the last year we have you under contract is communicate and help these young men stay out of massage parlors. Teach them what you know about football and not back massages. That's all. Crystal Davis says, Gabriel needs to switch positions to kicker. Oh, no, come on, man. Leave him alone. Don't do that. He could be a third string quarterback, hold the clipboard, make $400,000 a year. What? Yeah, he could be. That's what I'm saying. He could be the holder for the kicker, make $400,000 a year. Great life. Y'all tripping. Hey, man, listen. Y'all tripping. Dillon Gabriel ain't finna lose no sleep. Dillon Gabriel ain't finna miss no meals. Y'all really tripping, bruh. Y'all really tripping. I'm telling you right now, Dillon Gabriel can be the third string quarterback. He can be the guy who holds the ball, spin that thing on one finger, and make $400,000. All you got to do is be able to catch that thing when it go wide, when it goes short, if it go too high, if it goes sideways, put it down, spin it. $400,000 a year. Shit, what you talking about? I'm doing that for 15 years. What are you talking about? What? They ain't gonna ever play me. I'm the third string quarterback. By the time you play me, ain't nobody gonna expect nothing out of me. I'm the third string quarterback. Y'all lucky I know the playbook. I get the coffee in the morning. If I'm Dillon Gabriel, man, listen, don't cry for me, Argentina. I'm going to be all right. Feel go good. Collect my check. Y'all have a nice afternoon. What? Man, please. One of the sneaky positions on an NFL team is placeholder and long snapper. Bro, you be a good long snapper, 15 years. They're not allowed to hit you. You don't have to tackle. And you just got to throw a ball through your legs. $800,000 a year. Man, please. Y'all tripping. Y'all tripping. Biggie says there's a fight. Biggie says there's a fight in the White Sox game. White Sox-Reds game. Shout out. Knock somebody out, bro. Knock somebody out, fam. I ain't tripping on that. Where we let me see. Let me see if I can see it. Let me see. Hold on. Let me see. Hold on, bro. I can't see it, Biggie. I'm sure I'll find it at some point and bring it to the people tomorrow. But yeah, bro, y'all, that's wild. Y'all crazy. Y'all crazy, bro. Dillon Gabriel should be a kicker, bro. Dillon Gabriel finna take these snaps, hold that ball, and go buy him a luxury car. What? The coach don't matter. Just keep going from team to team. Become the best placeholder in the history of football, bruh. Show up on time, be professional, be a good team player. You can play 15 years in any professional sport. They just need guys like that. You just need guys like that, man. Y'all have listen, man. You ever look at that guy on an NBA roster and go, how the hell is he still in the league? How the hell is he still on the team? That's why he's sitting next to the coaches. He ain't gonna play 1 minute. He ain't gonna play 1 minute, bruh. Go ahead and collect this $2 million. Even after taxes, Dylan Gabriel might take home 250 grand. After taxes, Dylan Gabriel going home with 250 grand. Would you like to do that, to hold the football while somebody kick it through your hand, through your finger? Money. Collect my check. Go have a good life. How many of y'all making 200 grand a year to do something, a couple times a Sunday? It's good work if you can get it. There you go, Crystal Davis, locker room guy. It's 53 guys in this locker room. All of them can't play at the same time. Be the nice guy. Be the guy that lets somebody come over and sympathize with you. Be the guy somebody come out and they just get all their rage out, they scream. You be the counselor in the locker room. Be the guy who people can talk to. Then you go to the coaches and you be like, yo, man, this is what the guys are saying. This is what we kind of need to do. Be that guy, bro. All the checks clear, man. You ain't got to be the CEO. Can you feed your family? Can you take a vacation once or twice a year? Huh? Are your kids hungry? The answer is no to all those. You're in trouble. Well, I hope your kid's not hungry, but you can't take a vacation a couple times a year. If you make enough money that you got a roof over your head, nice gas in your tank, just $6 gas prices. You all right? Make your life better. Dylan Gabriel gonna be all right. Third string quarterback Dylan Gabriel. Cleaning up at the bank, though. Let's talk about this, too. Padres making 5 in a row. This is crazy. Okay, so to me, my opinion. Okay, you can believe what you want to believe. This is my opinion. This was the best series of the year. The Padres make it a full sweep, beating the Brewers yesterday in 11 innings, which in a game, I have to say that I thought they were going to lose. Yesterday's game is the game the Padres have lost all season long. Yesterday's game was prime for the game that they've lost all year. You get down 2-0. You've won the first 2 games. This is a travel day because the game's at 1 o'clock or 1:05 or something like that. This is the game that you lose and everybody's like, it's not a big deal. We won the series. You get 1 in the 3rd. You get another one in the 8th. And what have I told y'all about the 8th inning? If the Padres are winning after the 8th inning, they're very difficult to beat. It goes into extras. You get 1 in the top of the 11th for Milwaukee. The Padres find a way. By the way, the run that the T scored in the 8th. Way to leg it out, Cronenworth. You get 2 in the bottom of the 11th. Game time. Game time. And not only do you do that, you do that by beating a throw home. I mean, what better way to win a game? What better way than to beat a throw, and a close throw, by the way, at the plate to win the game? You definitely couldn't. JD, you definitely can't be wasting these Bogart home runs. You got to cash these bad boys in for dubs, bruh. What is happening? Whatever's happening right now with this team post All-Star break, because I don't know what the change was. Maybe guys have looked around and just went, just go play. Just go play. Because you know what what we don't find ourselves bitching about at this point of the season? Craig Stammen's bullpen rotation. Right? When was the last time you heard anyone complain about Craig Stammen's bullpen rotation? I said this at the trade deadline when people are like, oh, they need to get another bat. They need to get another bat. No, they didn't. They needed the guys who they pay to hit. That's what they've done. The guys who they paid to hit are simply hitting the ball. They're not, listen, and they're not like tearing the cover off the ball. Listen to these averages. Cronenworth, still 218. He's getting timely hits now. Machado 0 for 5 yesterday, batting .213 still. Shout out to Ty France for batting .295. Jackson Merrill, who has been on fire lately, still batting .247. Xander Bogaerts, even after yesterday's home run, .221. In totality, if you look at their numbers, they still don't look good. Their numbers still look very puzzling. But you look up after everything that has happened to them this season. You look up now, and they are one game up in the wild card over Arizona and over Philadelphia. This has to be one of the best post All-Star turnarounds I've seen the Padres do since I have been watching them. I told y'all on July 2nd, I put it on the board. This thing was over. But then they cracked open. They people kept losing. The Dodgers kept winning. Everybody else kept losing. Then the Cubs started winning. And then all of a sudden, a crack opened up. They had a 12-game run, which I talked about. And in that 12-game run, they went 9-12. And that's all it took to get back in the fight. And now that they've got back in the fight, they looked around and went, why not us? Why not? Because going forward, it gets easier. And I don't know if that's a trap. But you got 3 against Cleveland starting tomorrow. You got 3 against Cleveland, and you got 3 against the Mets. If you're gonna get hot, and make this postseason run, clear the fence and remove yourself and let the Diamondbacks and the Phillies battle it out behind you. This is the window. This is the window. And then you can end the season by putting the Diamondbacks out of their misery if they aren't already. Because you end the season on a 3-gamer against them. Because this schedule doesn't look, Tampa Bay's as of today, which is, kind of for what you want. Tampa Bay's got the best record in baseball. You've got them ahead of you. But by the time you get to them, you could have made some distance between yourself and this wild card. And the way that the Padres are playing right now, they ready against anybody. They took a Brewer team that has only been swept two times this year before that and added a third. That's a look. As we continue to watch what I believe to be one of the better stories in baseball, the Padres resurgence, equal to, by the way, what the White Sox have found a way to do this year, what the Red Sox have found a way to do this year, what the Cubs have found a way to do. At one point, the Cubs had lost, I think, 12 out of 15. The Red Sox at one point lost 16 games in a row. But now everybody's sitting around looking at a chance. So you're saying there's a chance. Padres make it 5 in a row, man. It's been fun to watch. Let's holler at the chat pack. Let's see what the chat pack cooking up down here. Crystal Davis says Richardson is playing for Indy tonight. That guy, either he's dumb as hell or he's got really bad luck. How do you get popped in the eye with the exercise band and you're out for the rest of the year? Like, what? This was after already hurting his shoulder through actual football play and then warming up on the field after the guy who replaced you, Daniel Jones, is cooking. And then he goes down, and with your opportunity opens up to play, you can't because you done whapped yourself in the eye with an exercise band. Either you dumb or you don't belong. Biggie says, as hot as the Red Sox have been, they don't have a guy hitting 270 in their regular lineup. A lot of 235 hitters, but they get all clutch hits after going 0 for 3 on the fourth at bat. They get a big hit. Baseball's a strange game. Crystal Davis, again, this is an interesting question. How long will Mendoza play tonight? His prize picks is, 102.5. That's a good number. I'm going to say more. I'm going to say more because they're not going to hand the ball off a lot because, you got to save your running backs. And so if anything, we need to see he has a control, again, not command control of the offense. So he should be able to go over 102.5. I would say more. Graham says Manny's batting average on a career is 275. I mean, he might get that. Where is he? Let me see. What is he? 221? He might get there. JD says the Padres are number 1 in OPS and number 1 in batting average since the All-Star break. He said maybe on OPS. You know those numbers. I don't really. But I do like batting average. I do like on-base percentage, but when you start throwing all these numbers, I'm like, did they get a hit or not? Hits, runs, RBIs. Shout out to WVC Smirks. Shout out to Graham, David P, Steve Coast, Tito in the building. I still haven't seen anything from this fight that you're talking about, Biggie. Let me see. Yeah, I ain't seen nothing from this fight. I got nothing. And let me talk about this last thing. I wanted to talk about the situation that's brewing with the Eagles, but I decided not to. I need more information. No, where is it? And one more thing. So it appears Jaden Daniels is very sensitive. Jaden Daniels is now telling the LSU, who he signed a contract with, to tell them that they can use his name and likeness in perpetuity, which means forever, for exchange of for a scholarship, because that's what they make you sign when you sign a scholarship. They get to use your name and your likeness into perpetuity without paying you. Jaden Daniels is now suing. Okay, this is how you know you've gotten too big for your britches. Jaden Daniels is now suing or Jaden Daniels is blocking LSU from using his name and likeness because LSU has allowed someone to use his number. Now, it depends on where you stand on this. What's up, Margaret? It depends on where you stand in this situation because to me, a college number is just that. It's a college number. Guys should wear your number as a sign of honor, as a badge of greatness. People wear 23 because of Michael Jordan. You know? People wear number 2 because of Derek Jeter in baseball. People wore 16 because of Joe Montana. So for you, sir, young man, to be that, get your panties up in a wad because now all of a sudden LSU wants to honor you by letting another person wear your number. You're upset about that? Well, buddy, guess what? You're going to have to send them cease and desist because LSU don't care about that. Buddy, you don't play there no more. And by the way, they got a whole new coach since the last time you played there, partner. Sorry, Tiger, I guess. Jaden Daniels, I like you, buddy. I really do. I like you. I think you're a good football player. Please don't turn out to be a bitch. Please don't. I think you're a cool dude. I see you hanging around with Juju Watkins all the time. I see y'all dating. Y'all just don't want to say it publicly because, she looks like your mom. Do with that what you will. Look it up. But, hey, look, man. Look. If the university doesn't retire your number and they give the number to someone else now currently on the roster, buddy, all you can do is say, yo, wear it with honor. Do me right by the number. When I started playing basketball, everybody gave me 25. I had no idea. I wanted to be 33 like Scottie Pippen. But people gave me 25 because of a legendary basketball player in Chicago out of Simeon who wore the number 25 and who was killed. I don't know why they gave it to me. I didn't want to die. But because that was the most prominent number, everybody out of Chicago, when you went somewhere else, they made you wear number 25. To the hell with Scottie Pippen, they say. So Crystal Davis says, but not for the Bulls, there will be no 23 worn. I mean, facts. Facts. Facts, bro. Ooh, Crystal Davis. Crystal Davis says, what do you expect? He's a mama's boy. His mom probably brought all this up. Man, listen. Crystal Davis, you're right. You're right. Look, man, ain't nothing wrong with loving your mother because she gave you life, and his mother appears to be very influential in his life. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But if you can't sit next to your girlfriend at a basketball game because of the public image of how it looks, buddy, does she put the condom on you too? I like Jaden Daniels. I really do. I think he's a great football player. I love watching him play. Smooth, quick, agile. I'm a huge fan. But, buddy, this other stuff, not looking good for you, champ. It really ain't. It got weird for me when I saw him at a game with Juju Watkins, and they were sitting together at one point, and then his mom showed up and sat in between them, and I went, "Is that Juju's mom? They look like sisters." Ugh. Ugh. It's okay to love your mom, dude. I'm not that guy. I'm not. Love your mother. You know. But at some point, young man, you gotta, set her up with somebody else. Shout out to the Rigby family. I do better, young fella. Do better. Good show today, man. Good show today. Y'all know what that means. As always, if you're new to the podcast and you stuck around this entire time, that means you enjoyed the show. So do me a slight favor. Head over to the YouTube page, John Bronner Podcast, and subscribe to the podcast. That way you can, put it as an alert on your phone so you can know at 10 o'clock when it starts anyway. At 10:05, you'll get an alert that the show has started. You can always email me anything at the John Bronner Podcast at gmail.com. I'll throw it up there for y'all who can't see it. In addition to this, just so you guys know, I got a comedy show coming up later in August. It's for a charity to build homes in Mexico. I'm going to let that be. But yeah, I can't wait for it, man. Anytime I have an opportunity to give back, I always try to do so, no matter who the giving back is to, as long as it's for a good cause. And in this particular situation, we're building homes, y'all. We're using jokes to build homes. So hopefully the homes are not a joke. JD says you could tell the mom was too involved in the season of quarterback. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Crystal Davis. I like Jaden as well. Yeah. Biggie says, I know, but it is what it is. Says Jaden Daniels won the Heisman Trophy at LSU, so he thinks he's on that level. What is your walkout song for the comedy entrance? I always tell them to pick whatever they want because I'm going to make fun of whatever song they pick. It's part of it's part of like how I ice break with the crowd. If you're a comedian, one of the things that you can do when you're starting out is make a joke about the song that they bring you up to, or make a joke about the previous person who was up before you when you listen to their set. Not to embarrass them or to roast them, just to break the ice between you and the audience. Because oftentimes as a comedian, when you're starting out, you don't know any of the people that you're telling jokes to because you have to build an audience. I have always been fortunate enough because of you guys to have a following wherever I go. So I have kind of a built-in audience, and that's been a saving grace for me because I feel comfortable everywhere I go. But when I was with Frank Caliendo and I didn't know anybody in a sold-out audience both times, first thing your boy did was make fun of the song they played. That immediately gets the crowd on your side. Let's little tidbit. Doing anything with Lawhead. I'm going to try to start having Lawhead on this show every Friday. They call it Lawhead Fridays. I'm going to try to get Alex Padilla to start coming on this show, every other week to talk about the Vikings or football or gambling or something. I'm going to get him on here some way, somehow, once a week. Because people keep asking for it, and I try to give y'all what y'all ask for. Like and subscribe to the show, man. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Appreciate y'all. Peace.